Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is March 22nd, 2022, and the news is brought to you by Analogue Spotlight, a group of photographic retailers and manufacturers who have joined together to support analog photographic media and help keep analog photography thriving worldwide. The brands are on the screen, either on the bottom or on the top, plus there's a link to the website. Last week it seems that there was a little jittery. I'm sorry, I was testing out things. Seems it didn't work as intended. Let's start with news with them. Analog Spotlight is doing an inaugural event in basically Worcester. I can't say this even though I'm half British. Basically in the space that Pixl-ltr has with 35mmC. And it's going to be basically a community event day where there's going to be different brands with little stands, workshops, talks, and so on. It's going to happen May 14th, 2022. So in a couple months. And it's the first of hopefully many events. Then let's get to other news that seem to be all over. Kodak Gold has been announced in 120 film. I have here a little leftover of the old Kodak Gold in 220. That was 400 speed. So Kodak has announced, or Kodak Alaris, or may I say Kodak Moments. I think we need to just call it Kodak, because it's getting too overwhelming for people to say. Kodak Moments has announced Gold 120. So famously being rumored forever. I actually said that there was rumors last week. I've had the film in my possession for a couple of months. I knew about it for around 6 months, but this is the hard part of doing the news and knowing about things, is that you have to not say that you know. So it's finally out. We can say Kodak Gold is out. I did shoot a couple of rolls. I was going to do a video. It's coming. Basically, the film is really nice. It is obviously gold, so they have branded it professional line, which is interesting to see because 120 gold is just gold in bigger size. So I don't know why they would consider it professional. And it also is supposed or intended to be 25% cheaper than the next in line, which is Ektar and Portra. Seems this is a problem with different distributors, and so don't pay more or the same as Portra. The best stores I've found right now for this pricing is Cinestill in the US and the Fine Lab in the US. Obviously in Europe, still not much about it. We do have Analogue Wonderland with some of it, which is a sponsor of the show. So you can check it out there and pre-order. It is really big news. Kodak's been working on this for a while. It had to get put on the back line. They came out with a Tri-X disposable, which is up here right now. There. But it's cool to see. And Kodak has more stuff coming, which obviously if I knew, I couldn't tell you. And if I didn't know, I couldn't tell you either because I wouldn't know. So that's one of the biggest news. But yesterday, Monday, wasn't the only little surprise. We also have Cinestill with a new release of a film, Cinestill 400D. In their lineup, as usual, Cinestill is mentioning that it is inspired or thanks to motion picture film that they are making available for still photography. This is a interesting crowdfunding campaign done through their own website. So they remove themselves from Kickstarter or Indiegogo, go straight to their website, which is really good for them because it takes away that 10%, 12% that usually these crowdfunding campaigns take from what you make, and they manage to control it all, which I think is decent for nowadays, and especially Cinestill, which has a good history in the market. So this 400D film is a 400 speed color negative film that basically has the remjet removed. So it does have that bit of a halo onto it like the 800T. And like I said, it is coming from Cinestill. So it's not officially said, but one could wonder that it's probably 250D without the remjet, because 250D is ECN2. And when you remove the remjet and do it in C41, the ISO usually gains. That's why 800T is actually 500T, but when you do C41. So the good news for this, for people that love to bash on Cinestill, is Cinestill once again is making something available for still photographers that's available to cinematographers. And yes, you can buy 250D and shoot it yourself. Then you have to deal with remjet. But you can't really do that so easily for 120 format. So we do have medium format coming in 400D. And 35, so you can now pre-order 35 and 120, and they have like a bit of like a graph of depending on how much money they would open 35 and how much money they would open 120. And this time, for the second time ever, Cinestill is going to be offering 4x5 if they reach a certain threshold. That's what I'm most excited for, 250D or 400D without remjet. In-sheet film is super exciting. They are at 60-something% by the time I record this. That's what I'm really excited about because, yes, it is a motion picture film available for still photographers. Doesn't make a lot of people excited because they think it's just rebrand. It is, in a way, a rebrand, but it's making us available for something that no other time have we had, which is cinematography film for still shooters with quality. So not just some dude in a garage spooling themselves, which can be done. But this is really nice, especially 120 and 4x5, which obviously is the hardest to make yourself. Obviously, you're not going to buy master rolls and cut them into 4x5. And they say even bigger. So really, really good news. I highly suggest you go to the website. They've already gotten like $250,000 of revenue or sales, I guess, through this. And yeah, that is very exciting news for the film community. Yesterday, Monday, 2 new film colors, color films. And yes, both manufactured probably by Kodak. I'm assuming it's 250D. I could be wrong. It hasn't been confirmed in any way. Just letting you guys know, because I like to inform as much as possible. Then on this weekend, I actually went to visit Conflict Camera headquarters and managed to see this 4x5 camera with AF, so autofocus. This camera is super impressive. I shot a whole video with him. Basically, it's a 4x5 with AF that starts at 90 mil when the little tubes are retracted and can go up to like 165. So you can use 90 mil lenses, 105 lenses, 135 lenses, some telephoto lenses. Has AF and it's really decent. Literally, you press a button and the camera starts focusing. And when you release, it goes fast. You can also press and release and it goes really fast. I would say it takes around half a second at the most to basically focus. And it's literally like just racking out. It has a viewfinder with all the bells and whistles that he mentioned. Like basically has like frame lines that have like parallax and lens kind of breathing, because as you focus closer, it kind of like creates a different focal length effectively. It has like hyperfocal lengths depending on the aperture and the lens, which you can change in the menu. It has a menu. I mean, this camera full of features, 6x12 frame lines, amazing stuff. The video will be coming in a couple weeks probably as I edit it and I finish it, but very, very exciting stuff. He will be releasing the camera soon, still going through prototypes and so on. I will have a hands-on shooting experience as soon as possible, but he is based in Helsinki, which is easy because I'm in Tampere, Finland, so it's only a train ride away. Very exciting stuff. Then we have a GoFundMe campaign for Charles Daniels. And if you're wondering what this is basically this man has been shooting film of all throughout the history of rock and roll, and he has accumulated around 3,000 undeveloped rolls. So this is basically a lifetime work, or more than a lifetime for many people, of the history of rock and roll shot waiting to be developed. The photographer still alive seems to be wanting to get it developed, so there's a crowdfunding campaign through GoFundMe to get this going. This is going to be developed slowly, I guess, and we'll get results, but we're probably going to see some of our favorite artists and situations we maybe have never seen. So if you feel like helping, this is a link I'm going to leave below for you helping in this, basically project. Then we have a book for those. Someone wrote me an email very nicely and said, hey, Nico, you talk about medium format, you talk about 35mm film, you talk about large format film, but you never talk about subminiature film, mostly because I don't really see many news about it. But not that I dislike it. I don't really use it, but I got nothing against it. This seems to be a book about subminiature photography, and it's called Shooting Film, Saving Money, Loving Analog: Techniques to Maximize Photographic Results. It's available as an ebook through Kindle and I guess Apple Books or something like that. I've never used ebooks. So I'll leave the ISBN on the bottom for the ebook and for the print, so you can go ahead and read if this is something that interests you. So then we have another interesting drop this week. YouTuber Smartereveryday is super into film photography, which has been really nice to see someone with that audience. We're talking 10+ million viewers or subscribers that is super into film. He made a video about how film is developed, but now he's made a new one of a part 3 series about Kodak making film, which was interesting because I did the film will go down in price? Will it ever go down in price? Just before watching this video, and it was like, damn, after seeing how much work goes into Kodak making film, and be it Kodak, Ilford, Adox, anybody making film, it's a lot of work and a lot of development. Basically, it opened my eyes even more about how important and how hard it is to make these products we love and use. So I highly suggest you watch it. If you haven't already, probably have. It's an hour long. I watched it seamlessly. I haven't watched a YouTube video an hour long without getting bored in years, if not more. He shows basically the first steps of how we get the base of the film, the S-star base. And he's going to be doing one on the coding and one on the, I think, developing. I don't know. It's all going to be really interesting. So I highly suggest you look at it. Don't really praise YouTube channels much, but this is really interesting, and it's something I envy because I really want to go visit film manufacturing, factories around the world and document them somehow. So I loved watching it. Then we have another product. We have a negative supply slide stabilizer mask, basically for the 4x5 light. So negative supply, which has a family of products bigger than I can even think of, because they've come out with so many things, have a 4x5 light, and they have a slide holder. The thing is, the slide holder independently needs their other stuff, but now they've made this stabilization mask. So basically it goes on their 4x5 light and holds the slide holder on top of it. So you can just basically feed it slides one by one. It's priced at $39. It's a 3D print. Basically holds the other gizmo, and you can also buy them combined, so either or. So if you got some slides you want to scan, that's a great way to use it. I wouldn't suggest it for like 5,000 slides or 500,000 slides because it is, manually feeding them. But if you got some slides, it's a nice way to do, and it's not too expensive considering altogether. Then we have Rod's gear. Rod's gear, I've mentioned in the news a couple times for film scanning software, basically holders or masks that he's been doing 3D printed and open sourcing from Brazil. I've been following forever, but he's been making slowly but surely point and shoot conversions to mirrorless Leica M mount. He's been doing it 3D printed. So basically point and shoots, when they die and they're unrepairable like many are, they have the lens, which is still 100% usable. So the thing he's doing is he's extracting the lens, which usually come in a group of, it's a plastic housing with a group of lenses. He's only doing glass. He's now making them available for people to convert for Leica M mount on brass or metal. So he's making this available for people to pay him a small commission to make these point and shoot lenses into Leica M mount lenses. I'm mentioning this because he wrote me, he said he basically is doing it for a small fee. I checked the fees, they're not high. It's like $59 for 3D printed, I think $99 for brass. And then it's shipping from Brazil. Do bear in mind it's Brazil, so shipping to and from is expensive, slow, customs issues, who knows what. But it's really cool to see. Honestly, it reminds me of the Omnar lenses, but let's say for a very entry-level price, because Omnar are 700 something pounds a lens, and they're also very different in quality and specs, but basically they both kind of share the fixed aperture, point and shoot dead camera lens for Leica M mount. So if you're into that, I'll leave the link below. He made a whole article on his website in English, so you guys can read, and if you feel like ordering, you can order. Then we have news from Arax Photo. If you don't know who Arax Photo is, they've been refurbishing, remaking basically Arax cameras for, I think, decades nowadays. And they're based in Kiev, Ukraine. As you know, things in Ukraine are not good for a lot of people. A lot of people have lost their income. A lot of people have lost their houses or many other worse things. And for this, I am mentioning Arax Photo because they have left on their website a link to basically donation. So if you feel like you've ever bought a product from them or you want to support them in any way, you can either buy a camera. They still had a few in stock a couple weeks ago. I don't know how shipping is right now. And you can also make a donation, help them. They've lost their livelihood and maybe their business. So it's nice to do something for them. I'll leave the link below. It's up to you guys to do. Talking about other prices and other things, we have Linhof. Someone wrote me saying the Linhof cameras, their price list that's on their website has changed and has been updated from I think 2020 or 2019 to 2022, 1st of March. So basically this month. This had obviously an increase. averagely increased, not too bad. I think like their cameras have gone, one of their cameras from 6,800 to 7,100. That's like $300 or 300 euros. Not a major increase in that size of a camera, but if you are into Linhof, you've been saving for one, now you gotta save a little bit more. So yeah, that's the news for this week. Like I mentioned, big news for the film community. Honestly, when I started the film news, I never thought I would have same day two new color films drop, making the film community so excited. These things are really, really important for the community, for us, the geeks, but also for the people that are outside of our circle, which is growing, but it's still small, because it creates awareness that yes, there's still some crazy people putting film into their cameras, developing with chemicals, getting into the darkroom, scanning, enjoying, and so on. It's used to be against the trend. Now it seems to be with the trend. And honestly, I'm not unhappy about that. I'm very happy to see more people picking up cameras. I'm very happy that Kodak is investing on this. The video that the Smartereveryday showed was showing people with new engineers that are learning how to make film. We're seeing some future, and this is why it's important that sometimes prices go up, because we have to pay for that investment on the structure that keeps film alive. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, you can send an email to the email below. Thanks to the sponsors, Analogue Spotlight. Remember, there's an event the 14th of May. See you next week. Bye.